What's up, everyone? I'm super excited for episode 100, and I'm super excited that this episode actually has video, well, pictures, to go along with the podcast. So, if you're used to just listening, we actually got a lot of great pictures today, so hope you enjoy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 100th episode of Our Travel Experiences. I'm your host, Kyle Rasmussen, and today I am recording this podcast from Everest Base Camp. Uh, pretty, pretty insane moment. About 17,700 feet up. Got a view of Everest here on a perfectly clear day. Just a couple clouds in the sky. Mountains are out all around. Uh, it's spectacular. I mean, I can't even believe this. It's been a long time waiting for this moment. I yeah, we spent 10 days trekking. We went the long way around, the harder route. We went to Gokyo, which was amazing. Summited Gokyo Ri, which was beautiful. Got a great view of Everest from there. Came over Chola Pass. It's a little over 17,700 feet. And finally, we are here at Everest Base Camp 10.5 days later into the hike. And yeah, absolutely incredible. At a loss for words. I mean, the mountains are just spectacular. The sun's shining. I'm on top of a glacier right now. And the Everest Base Camp sign is right behind me. So pretty wild, to say the least. I'll share I'll share more about this trek. I just want to say that this is a really cool moment for me. Thank you to my guide Neil for being an awesome guide, for making this a lot of fun, and for just being an awesome dude who's doing a lot of great things in the world and in Nepal. Thanks to Shannon for going on this journey with me and suffering through some of it with me for sure. Um, Thanks to Donna for giving me the opportunity to go on this trip, for bringing this to my attention and making it happen. And yeah, thank you to Himalayan Single Track for putting the itinerary together and getting all the logistics worked out. Um, yeah, thanks to everyone who supported me along the way through these 100 episodes. It's pretty wild. It's just crazy that this kind of worked out the way it did. That the 100th episode was coming out just after, not too long after I was going to be here at base camp. So let's see, it's November 17th here in Nepal, just after 11 a.m. We made it to base camp probably 20 minutes ago. I've been taking pictures, got on top of the rock that says Everest Base Camp, taking some videos of the area, and just enjoying this incredible moment, incredible culmination to this journey that's been months in the making for sure. Lots of training, lots of exercise, lots of working out in the gym, lots of planning, and lots of traveling to get here for sure. And then finally, a lot of hiking and a lot of cold nights to suffer through to get here. So it's pretty wild. So thanks again, everyone, for the awesome opportunity to do this, to share this. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to the 100 episodes. Or if you're new, thanks for listening. And here's to the next 100 episodes. As in Nepal, the way to say thank you, Dhanyabad. So Dhanyabad, everyone, thank you. And we'll see you for episode 105. Being here at base camp, it's a pretty magical experience. I see why why the Nepalese people think that you're basically stepping onto a god by stepping onto Mount Everest. These mountains are absolutely insane. They're just on an unbelievable scale, at an unreal level. and it's really being here really makes you just feel the you feel on top of the world. You feel like something magical is here for sure. So yeah, pretty amazing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing more here in the future once I'm back into uh, the U.S. probably. So yeah, thank you again, everyone.
All right, so I recorded some of this episode on November 17th and 18th after I had made it to base camp. And now I'm following up later now that I can breathe a little bit better, although not that much better. And I can just share a little bit more thoughts. I can look at the pictures and really just reflect back on the trip as a whole. So now we'll get into a little bit of the actual the trip itself. So I'm going to start with so we made it to Kathmandu, which I'll share about in a different episode. But once in Kathmandu, we had to take a helicopter to get to Lukla, which Lukla is about um, not a little over 9,000 feet above sea level. It's basically the gateway to get up to Everest Base Camp in the Khumbu Valley and get into that whole area in the Everest region. So we took a 45-minute helicopter, which was so beautiful. It's just amazing how mountainous Nepal is. And then you look up, you realize, I mean, the thing that I got most of the time on this trip was just how incredible the mountains are. I mean, it's you're already looking at some very high, tall mountains, higher than we're used to, or that I'm used to in the U.S. And then you look up even higher, and there's even more taller mountains above you. It's just incredible. So we made the flight to Lukla, and I we had lunch there. We had dalbat, which is the typical meal that they'll eat up there. It's a vegetarian like rice dish, super good actually, and it all works together. But gives you energy to be climbing the mountain there. So we had lunch. We got settled in. I gotta say, we watched a few of the airplanes landing and taking off at Lukla. That is not for the faint of heart. It is very sketchy, to say the least. That airport is on a huge slope. The runway is, and yeah, you got to be ready to be launched off a cliff when you're taking off, and for a bumpy landing when you land. Very quick landing because it's so short. Um, yeah. So after lunch, we got ready to go. We met our porters, who were carrying our bigger bags, and then we set off. And this was an easy day as it was our first day. We actually lost elevation, but we made it to Pakding, which is, I think it was about 5 miles or so to get there. We got there, 4 o'clock or so, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, um, just in time to get settled in right before the sunset and everything. Um, but yeah, it was really fun to be on that first journey. We had to stop and make sure we had our visas, our tourist visas to go into the Everest region there. We saw the cow trains and we saw the donkeys and lots of people trekking for sure. And yeah, it was just you know the first day was very magical for sure. Um, and it was actually I wasn't really sure at this point, how I would feel with the elevation. This was a pretty easy day, since we actually had a net loss of elevation. That made it a little bit easier as well. But you're constantly going like a pretty steep uphill or a pretty steep downhill. There was never a lot of flat ground to hike on, so you're constantly going up and down. So you're climbing. You might be netting just a few hundred feet of elevation or a few like 1,000 feet of elevation, but you climb that multiple times during the day. So you actually climbed maybe 5,000 feet, but you only netted 1,000, which was kind of frustrating. It made it more challenging for sure. Um, yeah, so that was the first day. We saw a lot of the Buddhist markings, the prayer flags. We saw the stupas, things like that, and the
the prayer wheels, all of those things. That was really cool as well. We saw porters who were carrying ridiculous amount of weight on their backs. Those guys are just insane. I don't know how they do that. I know my guide Neil said that they can carry up to like 250 pounds on their backs, which is insane. Just yeah, that is a hard way to make a living for sure. And yeah, all the respect to them. So we tried to stay out of their way, make it as easy as possible for them. And it was kind of cool. We got to cross a few suspension bridges, which is a lot of fun. Again, it was beautiful. You see the river, the trees, the mountains. It's just yeah, spectacular. So that was the first day, and then we had dinner. We got settled into our first tea house of the trip, which those tea houses are not very much at all. They're pretty much just some plywood thrown together with a stove in the dining room and a kitchen, and that's about it. Some were nicer than others along the trip. This one that we stayed in the first time was a decent one, and it was nice to get in there to get warmed up. We got some tea. So we every time we would get to a place, we usually had some tea, and yeah, just kind of rested for a little bit, and then kind of got unpacked, and then had dinner. Usually every day we had dinner around like 6 o'clock, between 5:30 and 6:30 for sure. And I don't know what I had on this day. I don't remember at this point, but yeah, usually I had for lunch and dinner. I would have I had dalbot a few times, but I would either usually have like egg fried rice or egg fried noodles or some sort of pasta, or something like that. I usually I could stick with the egg fried rice a lot because that was good, and it gave me a little bit of protein. There wasn't the meals up there, not a lot of protein, which was hard for me. Also, the serving sizes were a lot smaller than I'm used to. So I was hungry a lot on this trip. I ended up, I'll just reveal it now. I ended up losing 9 pounds during these 2 weeks of hiking. I could definitely tell that I had lost weight, and yeah, it was a lot. Thank God I brought protein bars. Pro tip for anyone traveling that's planning to hike to Everest Base Camp: bring some protein bars with you and some other snacks if you can. Those protein bars saved me for sure. Otherwise, I would have had a much worse time up there. A lot of the tea houses do have like, Snickers bars and Kit Kats and other snacks, but it gets quite expensive the higher you go up, because everything has to be carried in on has to be flown in on a helicopter and then carried up the mountain on someone's back. So it's not easy to get stuff up there. So it's good to be prepared as much as you can, because you don't know how much you're really going to get the opportunity to have food and drinks and stuff like that. Yeah. So then the next morning, we had our breakfast. We usually had breakfast around like 7:30, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there. Um, most days, as the trip went on, I had black coffee and two fried eggs with 2 pieces of toast, which was not that filling, but it got me through the mornings. So yeah, I don't think I had it this day, but I don't remember what I had this day. This seems like an eternity ago, and it kind of was. But yeah, so we set off, and this is where we started gaining some elevation. Beautiful, beautiful area for sure. The river was below us and just beautiful. It was a sunny day, sunny morning, so got some great views, took some great pictures. There's some little villages along the way, so it's great to see just kind of normal life up there. A lot of people on this trail because it's the only trail up there. So yeah, we made our way to Monjo, where we had lunch. We had to check in with the government, the tourist office or whatever, and let them know that we were going in, and then we're going further from there. So then we had lunch out in the sunshine, which was nice. I had Dalbot that day. I do remember that. And then we crossed some more suspension bridges. We cross the famous Hillary Bridge, which is super high above the river. But that was great. Yeah, fun to do that. And then once you cross that, it's a pretty steep climb up to Namche Bazaar, which is the main village up in that region. It's kind of it's the meeting point for all the other villages around. So yeah, pretty steep climb up there. I was doing it pretty good. I was worried again, how I'd feel with the elevation. This was Namche is a little over 11,000 feet, like 11,200 or something like that. And yeah, but I felt fine, totally fine. It was pretty cool, when you walk into town and it's on the hillside, and saw some like teenagers playing volleyball out there. There's a beautiful like dirt volleyball court that I ended up actually getting to play on the next day. And you had the stupa, you had a whole bunch of stuff. It's a pretty touristy town. So you could, you went by the world's highest Irish pub. There's cafes. You could go to the spa if you wanted to. They had everything there. And yeah, we got settled into our tea house, which was awesome. That was the nicest one probably that we were in. I think it was called Hotel Tibet. But yeah, it was great view over the town of Namche. And we just kind of relaxed for a little bit. I did a lot of journaling. So spent a lot of time sitting around on this trip, just like journaling, reading, talking with Shannon on this trip. Donna was still with us at this point, so we talked with her. Talking with Anil, our guide, and just listening to music, doing whatever I could to stay warm and just kind of get through the day. So then the next morning, it was incredible. I woke up and I looked out it was probably like 5 o'clock in the morning or so, 5:30. And I look out the window when I wake up and I have this perfect view of the sun rising, and there's a huge mountain out the window. It's capped with snow, and it was just absolutely insane. So cool to see. Like that was worth every cent right there. I was just constantly wowed by the scenery. It's just absolutely incredible. I mean, it's unlike anything you see anywhere else in the world, to be quite honest with you. So this day was our acclimatization day. We hiked up to Everest View Hotel, which is a 5-star hotel, pretty wild up there. And great morning to be hiking. Wasn't too cold at all. And we got up to, I think that hotel's around like 12,500 feet or so. So one of the things when you're hiking at that elevation that will really help is to basically, like, the rule of thumb that I heard is hike high, sleep low. So you can really help yourself deal with the altitude, the lack of oxygen, by hiking to a higher point, and then hiking back down and sleeping at a lower elevation. So that can help your body adjust to the elevation. So at Everest Viewpoint Hotel, we got a great view of Everest in the other mountains there in the Himalayas in the Everest region. We had some tea up there and some little biscuits for snacks. And just kind of enjoyed the morning. We were there for a few hours. And then we hiked back down to Namche. And then that's when I played volleyball with the teenagers there. And that was a lot of fun to do that as well. And then I spent some time exploring Namche, bought a couple gifts and stuff like that, and just kind of relaxed the rest of that day. And then the next morning, we pushed on. So we went from Namche we ended up going to, what's the name of it now? It's escaping me. Adole, not Dole. That's where we ended up the next night. But we hiked up again. We climbed steeply up to a place called Mong, a little tiny village. We stopped there for lunch. I had a great view of the mountains. Again, it was another clear day. Every day was pretty much sunny and clear in the morning, and then around 2 or 3 o'clock at night, or 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the clouds would start rolling up the valley. And by 4 o'clock, it was 4 or 5 o'clock, it was pretty much clouded in, and that was about the time the sun set. So it was just like clockwork every day. Yeah, so we had lunch up there, and then we continued. We had to go hike way down to a little village called Fort Setanga, and then we climbed all the way back up to Dole, which I think Dole was around. It was over 4,000 meters. Yeah, 4,100 meters. So now it was like close to about 14,000 feet, I believe, which is basically at the edge of the tree line. So our guide was telling us that from there, that's where people start to have more issues with altitude sickness because there's less oxygen because there's no trees, and you really get into that high elevation. One of the cool things I saw on this day was I saw some yaks for the first time, and I also saw a wild Himalayan goat, which was pretty cool. He was just kind of staring at me as I walked by, so that was kind of fun. And this is the first like really cold night, and it was pretty much cold for the rest of the time. So thank God for the sleeping bag and the blankets and just layers that I could wear, and the little stove in the dining room of every tea house. It was pretty not fun sleeping in the cold all the time. There's no heating in those places at all. So yeah, we had we stayed there. We played Uno that night, which was a lot of fun. And then the next morning, Donna actually had to turn back because she was feeling the altitude sickness. Turns out she had other illnesses going on as well. So it's a good thing that she did turn back because things would have got much worse. So then from there is me, Shannon, one of our porters, and our guide, Anil. And so from Dole, we hiked up to Machermo, which didn't take very long. I think it was only like 3 or 4 miles. It really wasn't that difficult of a hike. And we had lunch there, got into our tea house, and then we had lunch. And then in the afternoon, we did another acclimatization hike up behind our tea house. And I think so Machermo was around like 14,700, 15,000 maybe. No, not 15,000. Like 14,500, 14,700, something like that. And then on our acclimatization hike, which was incredible, we got some amazing views. It's just amazing. I don't even know the words to describe it. I mean, just unlike anything you've ever seen. And the scale of the mountains is just insane. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So then I think with the hike, we got up to like 15,500, something like that. And then we hiked back down, and yeah, that was a very cold night. That was brutal. And one of the challenges, not just the cold, but these tea houses are very bare bones. And once we got past Namche, none of the toilets could flush. So you had to pour water to basically like flush it down. You couldn't put toilet paper in the toilets. You had to throw it in the garbage. So that, for me, that was I didn't enjoy that part of the trip at all. That wasn't very fun. But yeah, that was honestly the cold nights. The cold nights of just sitting there, of nothing to do. You're constantly cold. You're constantly just kind of bored. That was the hardest part for sure. The hiking was honestly the easiest part of this whole thing. Yeah, if I could just hike the whole time, that would have been ideal. So yeah, we did that. Cold nights. Actually made a really great friend. So the tea house that we stayed in that night, the owner, he actually climbed Mount Everest, so it was cool to meet him. He said he did it in 2 months, which was pretty amazing. And his granddaughter was there, and she was a character. I think she was in 6th grade, and I was in the tea house in the dining room, just journaling, getting caught up, sharing my thoughts on the trip. And she came in and sat down, and she knew English pretty well, and so she wanted to talk to me in English, English, and so she was a lot of fun. She was asking me all sorts of questions, and she wanted to read what I wrote and say it out loud to me in English and stuff like that. And so we actually chatted for long time, and it was a lot of fun. Broke up some of the monotony of the trip for sure. Um, so yeah, I really I enjoyed that conversation with her. Her name was Wong Mu. But yeah, hopefully someday I'll meet her again. She was funny. um, yeah. So then the next day, we got up. Same routine every morning, same routine every night, and yeah, we hiked to Gokyo, and Gokyo is around like 15. I think it's like 15.5, 15.6, something like that. 4,800 meters. So now we were really getting up there, and just spectacular. I mean, there's not much out there. Not a lot of vegetation. There's no trees. It's just kind of rocky, barren. But you see the snow-capped mountains all around. And up here by Gokyo, there's Gokyo Lake, which is just the icy blue alpine lake, which is just stunning. And here at this tea house, we had lunch. We got there. A lot of times we were getting to these places before before noon, a lot of times before 11, because we were, Shannon and I both felt really good, so we could hike pretty quick up to these places. And we were only going, I think the longest day we had on this whole trip going up was 8 miles. So it wasn't like we were hiking, 20 miles a day kind of thing. We were, doing a low amount. You're just at such a high elevation that it makes it more difficult. But from there, we did another acclimatization hike. This one was very difficult. It was to the summit of Gokyo-ri, which is about 2,000 feet straight up in just under 2 miles. And it was hard. We still did it pretty quick. I did it, I don't know, a little over an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, but it was tough. You're just constantly like your lungs are burning, you're out of breath. It was brutal, but so rewarding at the top. Oh my gosh, the views were just insane. One of my favorite moments of the trip was being up there. It was clear. I mean, hardly any clouds in the sky. You could see all around, 360-degree view. You could see the alpine lake below. You could see the town of Gokyo. You could see the mountains to the south, and then you could see Everest super clearly. You could see Choyu, which is another 8,000 meter peak. You could see Lhotse, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is another 8,000 meter peak, and Makalu, which is another 8,000 meter peak. And yeah, just amazing. So we got some really great pictures up there. That was worth the pain and suffering of getting up there for sure. Yeah, so then we made the hike back down, just hung out in the tea house. Anil taught us a Nepali card game, which was actually a lot of fun. And yeah, I remember this night. I mean, I had just been starving. It's been 5 or 6 days of starving at this point, not getting enough food for what I'm used to, and, hiking a lot as well. So burning a lot of calories, and I was just starving, and I was like, all right, today I'm gonna break down, and I bought some Pringles, so a can of Pringles, and it came out to about a little over $7, which is insane, way too expensive. But that's those are the prices that you pay when you're up on the mountain, and you got nowhere else that you can get that stuff for miles and miles around. So yeah, we had that night there, and then the next morning was a super short day. We crossed the ancient glacier in that area that has run off from Choyu, and so it was, I don't know, maybe 2 miles altogether. But we went to Thagnak, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on all the pronunciations. Yeah, so we went there, and so we were done really early in the morning. So spent a lot of time just like reflecting on things, going over my goals for the next year, thinking about different business ideas, journaling. I've spent a lot of time reading. It was a very sunny day. It was nice out, so just enjoyed the sunshine and enjoyed just kind of hanging out for a little bit. It was a nice kind of rest day, I guess. Um, yeah, nothing exciting there. We played Uno again, I think, that night. That was a very busy tea house. A lot of people go to that spot because the next day is a much harder one. So we actually, this next morning, we got up super early. We left. We had breakfast at like, I don't know, 4:30 ish, and we left by 5, I think. And a lot of people had left like an hour before us at like 4 a.m. So today we had to cross Chola Pass. Chola Pass is one of the 3 high passes up there in that region, which some people do that trek. They do the 3 high passes and Everest Base Camp, which is a little bit longer trek than what we were doing. Um, in Chola Pass, you get up to about 17,500, 17,006, something like that. So you're getting up there. And again, no flat ground. So you're constantly climbing. So we had to climb up to one point and then climb down and then climb straight up again about 2,000 feet or so. They had kind of markings and trains because it's super rocky, big boulders towards the top of the pass. And yeah, it was nice to have like the metal chains there to kind of help like pull myself up the up there. But yeah, I actually was the first one on that day to get to the top of Cholla Pass. There was nobody else up there. We had passed everyone that had left before us. There had been nobody that came from the other side, so I was actually the first person up there that day, which is kind of cool. And yeah, I guess I am very competitive, and I just by this point I realized, okay, I'm doing well with the elevation. I feel good. I can keep pushing this. So I was just trying to see how fast I could get from place to place. Every town had a sign that said basically how far and how long it would take to get to the next village. And so, the night before, our guide Anil had told us, or I guess the sign that we saw in Thagnoc said that it would take about 8 hours to get to the next village on the other side where we were staying, which is like Dagnall or something like that. And so 8 hours. And then our guide Anil said, "Oh, you guys are strong. It'd probably take 6 hours." Well, we ended up taking 4.5 hours. Because we were so quick, and I just kind of pushed the pace. So that was actually a lot of fun, and yeah, just incredible views at the top. I mean, you can see all around again. Um, yeah, it was stunning. I mean, the sun was still rising at that point, so we got a great view of the mountains as the sun's coming up. I had the summit to myself for about 10 minutes, which was 10-15 minutes, which was just awesome. Just I don't know, so impactful and inspiring to be up there by myself, just taking it all in. Really, yeah, really recommend for sure. So then Shannon and O'Neill made it up there, and we took some pictures and everything, and then we hiked down just a short ways, and then we had to cross a glacier, so we had to put micro spikes on. It wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a little slick. We only needed it for about 15 minutes or so, and then we took those off. We had a little a little breakfast. So we had some egg sandwiches from the tea house um, that they packed for us, and so we just enjoyed the sunshine, the beautiful views, and had breakfast again really quick. Our second breakfast brunch, I guess, and then we continued down. We made it to Thagnall, I think that's the name. Had lunch, hung out. We were there super early, like before noon. So again, a lot of time sitting around, which was tough. But then, yeah, that was another cold night as well. I think the coldest it got on most nights above the tree line were about like 5-ish degrees Fahrenheit, or about like, I don't know, what is that, -5 or something Celsius. So cold for sure. So then the next morning we continued on. We went, uh, yeah, we continued across, and then we turned up onto the main Everest Base Camp trek uh, trail, and then we made it up uh, to Lobuche was our stop that night. So we had gone the long ways around. So all these villages that I've been mentioning after Namche, we were going the long way around to go over Chola Pass. Most people would not from Namche would turn a different way and go straight up the valley, which is a lot quicker. Which I'm actually glad that we didn't do. I really enjoyed getting to see something new every single day, and much less people trekking on the part that we were trekking. And so, yeah, I thought it was nice to go in a loop versus going in a line up and down. So we got to see more and experience more, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, we made it up to Lobuche, which is about 16,000 feet, just over 5,000 meters. Um, Again, we had a lot of time to sit around. So at this point, in Lobuche is the world's highest cafe. So I went in there and I got a hot chocolate and a piece of cake. And they actually had a movie on. They had Into Thin Air, which is a famous movie about the disaster on Everest in 1996 when a bunch of people died. So I sat there and just watched that. It was really warm in there, so I enjoyed that as well. And yeah, that was great. And then, yep, just hung out in the tea house. I think we played Uno, read all the same stuff again. Super boring. And yeah, we continued on from there. So the next day was Everest Base Camp. We went the 3 miles or 3 kilometers, so about a little less than 2 miles up to Gorak Shep, which is the highest town, the last town that you'll see. That's about 5,200 meters or just under, so close to 700, 17,000 feet, and not quite 16 and a half, something like that. And we stopped there. We had tea, bathroom break, all of that stuff. And then we continued on. It was another 3 kilometers to Everest Base Camp. And yeah, so we got there at around 10:30, 11 in the morning, as I mentioned. And yeah, just spectacular. I mean, there's only two other people that were there besides us. So we kind of had the place to ourselves for a while. And just seeing the mountains all around, seeing Everest, we actually got to see an avalanche too, which was pretty wild. And yeah, it was just, oh man, incredible, incredible, incredible. Yeah, really, really amazing and just inspiring. And that's where I recorded the pieces of this, as you've heard already. And yeah, we took pictures up there. We were up there for, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour. Yeah, I took pictures with the Everest Base Camp rock, the sign there. So at this point, we're at 17.5, 17.6 again. The sun was shining. It was a perfect day. Yeah, we just enjoyed the moment for a little while. And then we hiked back down to Gorak Shep, got settled into the tea house, and Shannon took off with our porter, and she climbed Kalapatar. I was debating it because I could see the clouds were coming in, so I wasn't sure if I should wait to go or not. But Anil told me that if we could see the sunset over Everest, that would be really, like, really magical. And so I ended up deciding to wait. And so around, I don't know, a little after 3 o'clock, we started hiking up Kalapatar. And as we're hiking, you could see the clouds just coming in. And as we get higher and higher, the clouds just closed in more and more. And by the time we were at the top, it was snowing, it was windy, it was freezing cold. You couldn't see anything. I could see like 10 feet around me, if that. And yeah, it was it was rough up there. But then we sat up there for a little bit. I took some pictures and videos and stuff like that. And you could see that things were starting to clear up. So we're like, let's just wait a little bit longer. We got up there about a little after 4, and sunset was at 5. And so just like, let's just wait a little bit. started clearing up more and more. You could see more and more around. And I mean, Everest was looking kindly on me on this trip, because the weather was great, and I just yeah, about 15 minutes before sunset, it cleared up. There's no clouds and just a perfect sunset over Everest. Everest was lit up with the dying sunlight. It was lit up orange, glowing, and the sky was beautiful. It was just absolutely perfect. Definitely was magical. I just couldn't believe that. Those are one of those moments where you just can't believe that you're there experiencing that. I mean, that was just, yeah, that was. I recommend doing that if you can. It was, words can't describe. Um, yeah, I'll never forget that moment. You could just feel the magic in the air. And being at Kalpatara too, maybe I was just oxygen deprived because that was over 18,000 feet at the summit there. So maybe I just didn't have any oxygen. So um, whatever. But yeah, that was an incredible bonus experience for sure. So yeah, then we went back down. I was freezing. I was so glad to get back to the tea house, and that was the end of that day. And then the next day, we started our descent. So we hiked from Gorak Shep. Made it all the way down to Pangboche, which I don't know. I think that's like 14 miles, maybe. No, I don't think it was that much. 12 to 13 miles, maybe. I don't know. Longer than we'd hiked before, but you're going downhill a lot, although you still have to do some steep climbs. You're still at high elevation. But Pangboche gets you back down to about 14,000 feet, which was nice. So it got a little bit warmer, which was enjoyable. And again, another perfect day. We could see all down the valley. I mean, just beautiful sights all around, for sure. And then let's see, did the normal routine there. The next morning, we hiked from Pangboche back to Namche. And on this part, you hike down and then you hike up to Tangboche, which there's a monastery there, which we stopped at really quick. It was closed when we were there, but took some pictures and all of that. And then you climb down again, and then you climb back up to Namche, but you're losing elevation overall. So back to Namche, 11,000 ish feet. And yeah, that day I was like, I'm gonna celebrate a little bit. So I got like a cinnamon roll for dessert, a little extra coffee, and treated myself a little bit. And then I got to try the local uh, uh, alcohol, which, gosh dang, I can't remember the name of now. Shoot, but I don't know. It tasted all right. Didn't taste like a whole lot. Anyways, and then yeah, I went to the Irish pub where I had the Three Peaks espresso martini, and I enjoyed that at the Irish pub, and watched actually the World Cricket Championship was going on, World Cup Cricket Championship. So I watched a bit of that, and yeah, that was my party for the day. Um, yeah, that was fun. It felt so good to be back there, so good to be done with all the hard parts of the trip. Then the next day we went Namche to Pakding. Pretty easy day. A lot of people. Oh my gosh, there's so many people to deal with. It was kind of annoying, to be honest. And then yeah, the next day Pakding to Lukla, and we weren't flying out till the next day, so just had time to explore. I went to a really good coffee shop and had some blueberry cheesecake, which was awesome, and some coffee. I just read, enjoyed the sunshine for a while. Um, yeah, just relaxed, and was glad to be done with all the hiking. That was a really good last day of hiking. We made those last 5 miles early in the morning. There wasn't very many people around, and it was just really, you could really just reflect and enjoy the moment, and just being in nature, being at the end of this incredible life changing journey. So that was pretty amazing. So yeah, then just enjoyed Lukla, and then the next morning, it's frustrating. By this point, I was like, okay, I'm done with everything. Let's go home. Let's get back to Kathmandu, to food, to warmth. I was ready to get out of there, to not do the same routine every single day again. But the helicopters don't run on time there, so we had breakfast at like 7:30 in the morning, I think, and then we were supposed to leave at like I think 8 or 9. Helicopter wasn't there, so Shannon and I went over to the airport, which is just a short walk, and we got to watch some planes take off and land, which was again terrifying. um, Finally around like 10-ish o'clock, we went to the helicopter portion of the airport, and we waited and we waited and we waited, and finally, I think around noon, we actually got to get on a helicopter and go home. And again, we made the 45-minute flight or so back to Kathmandu, and then it was, it's a long journey to get through all the traffic there of Kathmandu, and but like we were starving. I've been starving for 2 weeks, and yeah, so we wanted some good food. So I was really dirty at this point. I hadn't showered in 2 weeks. I had only changed my clothes once during the 2 weeks of hiking because it was just so cold. I had no motivation to change my clothes. So I stunk. I was dirty. I hadn't shaved. Yeah, scraggly, gross, whatever. But food was more important at that point in time. So after we made it took till like 1:30ish to get back to the hotel. We dropped our bags really quick, met Donna, and then the owner of Himalayan Single Track, Jenny, and she took us over to this burger place that we had gone to on our first day. And man, that meal was amazing. I had a Coca-Cola with a great cheeseburger and fries that had like cheese and other sauce on it. I demolished it in like 5 minutes. It was so good. Yeah, that was, that was incredible. One of my favorite meals of all time for sure. It just felt so good to get some food again. And not, actually get to eat some meat and get to eat something different than rice and noodles and eggs, which I had every single day for like 3 meals for the last 2 weeks. So that was the trip. Again, it was about 2 weeks. We went the long way around. Honestly, I personally feel that I could have done it a lot quicker. I probably, my Anil said that he could probably hike up to Everest Base Camp in 12 hours. I don't think I could do it quite that fast, but I could do it, maybe like 18 hours, something like that, for sure. And then going down is a lot easier, for sure. But to actually like experience it, for anyone that's going there for the first time, I thought it was perfect the way we did it. Because you just don't know. There's so many unknowns. You don't know how your body's going to react to elevation. Everyone's different, even if you're really fit. Which being fit and having a good cardiovascular system does help you to not get altitude sickness. But there was even some fit people that were dealing with it. And as you can hear in the parts that I recorded at base camp, you can hear I'm standing there. I had been standing there for 20 minutes. I hadn't been hiking for 20 minutes, and I was still breathing heavy. You're still feeling it, even if you're not hiking. Heart rate just runs a little bit higher too. So I definitely recommend doing it the way we did it. It was great. Definitely, if you're hiking in November, which is, we did, in November, and perfect time to go. It's a busy time. That's the most popular month for people to make the trek to Everest Base Camp. Just know there's going to be a lot of other people up there, but it's the perfect time to go. You're going to get the best weather. Just pack warm. That sleeping bag, the mummy liner that I had was really really helpful, lifesaver. Bring extra snacks, protein bars, things like that. That'll really help you out, and just be prepared to sit around for a while. Bring a Kindle or a book or something like that. Oh, also I forgot with the tea houses up there. you got to pay for everything. So Wi-Fi wasn't free. So you had to pay for Wi-Fi at every place. If you wanted Wi-Fi, you had to pay to charge, your phone or your battery charger or whatever, things like that. So toilet paper, everything costs money up there. So just be prepared for that as well. But yeah, life-changing experience. I'm so glad that I went on this. I am so glad um, that I got to experience this. This was life-changing, so inspiring, motivating, just such a unique experience that I will never ever forget. I will cherish forever. It was worth every cent, every struggle, everything that I dealt with on the trip, before the trip, after the trip. Now, uh, yeah, I highly recommend it to anyone who's looking to challenge themselves and learn a lot about themselves as well. So that was my trip to Everest Base Camp. You're going to hear a little bit more here at the ending, but thanks again for listening for 100 episodes, and I'll see you all next time. As I'm walking here on my way back to the Himalayas, I just passed Le Boucher, and now I'm headed down to Peng Boucher, and then we're just a few days away from being back in Kathmandu. I just can't help but be thankful for all these opportunities and for just this incredible journey. It's been an amazing journey. It's taught me a lot about myself. It's shown me that I haven't found my ceiling yet. That I can keep pushing myself to do more, to do better, to do good things for the world. And so I'm just going to keep pushing myself, keep trying to find where that limit is at, or if there even is a limit. It's been incredible, and I'm just really thankful. I'm thankful for the weather, thankful for not getting too sick, a little bit of a cold, but didn't get altitude sickness, didn't get, well, I guess there's still a few days, didn't get the Kumbu cough as most people did on this trip. Everyone we met in the tea house was coughing along the way, and I'm walking here on a perfect day. There's no one around me right now. The sun's shining, the mountains are out in all their glory, and it's just inspiring. It's inspiring to be on the other side of the world and to experience something so unlike anywhere else in the world. I mean, there's big mountains around the world, but this is a whole nother level. So I'm thankful for it all. I'm thankful for this life that I have, and for the ability to keep pushing myself to new heights, to take these opportunities, and really want to give back as much as I can. I got a lot of things done, a lot of thoughts processed on this trip as we've been trekking the last 11 days, and I'm just really excited to work on some things that I think will be really helpful for the world, really helpful for the local community that I live in and beyond. The villages that we passed through, the people of Nepal, of other countries. I just think there's so much good that can be done in the world, and I feel that I have a responsibility to do that, to give back to the world, to do good for the world, leave a positive impact. Since as long as I can remember, my goal has been to make a positive impact on the world, to leave this world, hopefully in many years, knowing that I did something, that I made a positive change, positive impact on the world. Even if that's just one life or millions of lives, I hope that I can look back on my life and be proud of what I accomplished, of what I did, not for myself, but for others. So, yeah, it's quite a magical moment, yeah, I just can't express how thankful I am for all of this, and I really just am excited to keep pushing. So thank you all again. I appreciate it, and look forward to hopefully some new and big exciting things coming soon. Again, not for myself, but for others. This is all about the next generation, about leaving the world better than when I found it, or when I came into it. So let's just keep making a positive impact on the world. If whatever you do in life, do it with kindness, do it with love. Life's too short to be unhappy, to be angry, to bring others down. Life is so much better if you lift people up, lift yourself up to a new standard. So keep pushing everyone, keep pushing yourself to new heights, challenge yourself, and just keep getting after it. Do whatever you can to be happy, to make others happy. That will fulfill you more than any amount of money or any amount of things will do. So signing off for now. Also, thank you to my family for supporting me along the way all these years, for allowing me to take these opportunities. It's been an incredible journey. This is my 31st country. This has definitely been one of the most unique experiences of my life, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities I've been given, and I just really hope to be able to give more opportunities like this to people in the future, because I think you really can learn about a lot about yourself, a lot about the world, by traveling, by pushing yourself, challenging yourself to do something that's difficult, like hiking to Everest Base Camp. Is not easy to get here by any means, and it's incredible. Travel's a great teacher. It'll show you a lot, and it'll make you a better person. So hopefully you'll keep traveling. Hopefully this inspires you to challenge yourself to do something that maybe scares you a little bit, to push yourself outside your comfort zone, and fly to the other side of the world maybe, and do a trek in the freezing cold in the mountains of Nepal, where you can't understand the language, but you got an awesome guide with you, and just enjoy every moment. Life is short. There's a lot of people who have died up here, unfortunately. A lot of people have died on the mountain. A lot of people who have not been able to make it up here. So every moment is precious. Just enjoy it, and keep exploring. Hope to see you all somewhere around the world soon.
Thank you to all the listeners and subscribers of this podcast. It's amazing that I get the opportunity to do this and, talk to all of these amazing people around the world and hear their stories and share it with you. It's been a dream doing this. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to keep moving forward with it. As always, the subscriptions, $3 of the monthly subscription goes towards providing school supplies to kids in need around the world. And I'll be providing more updates on those, on progress with that as time moves along. But again, hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next week for another inspiring story and great episode. Have a great week. See you next time.